Have you ever found yourself in what seemed like an ordinary moment, only to suddenly witness something that turned your entire worldview upside down? A flight, a quiet scene outside the window, and then something that simply cannot be explained. Not a streak of light darting across the sky, not the roaring sound of jet engines, but an object hovering, perfectly still, as if defying every known law of physics. Even stranger, it wasn't just one person who saw it. Two complete strangers, who had never exchanged a word, witnessed the same thing at the same time and were overcome by the same chilling sensation. But what was truly terrifying? Not the unidentified object itself, but the wave of anxiety that suddenly swept over them, as if seizing control of their very minds. This story isn't just about seeing a UFO, it's about losing control, about an invisible connection between two strangers, and about the lingering dread that followed long after landing. Just recently on United Flight 5922 from MSO, MT to Den, CO, I was sitting by the window with my headphones on, while the guy next to me sat on my left. I was looking down at my phone when he suddenly leaned forward to look out the window. Seconds later, I turned my head to see what he was looking at, and there it was. Something that looked like a volleyball, just floating, eerily still, maybe 50 feet from the plane. It was simply hanging there in the sky. We hadn't said a single word to each other the entire flight, but at that moment, we both pulled off our headphones and looked at each other. I asked, "Did you just see that?" He replied, "I was about to ask you the same thing." We sat in silence for a moment, then looked back, and it was gone. Whatever it was, I didn't really care. But what happened next completely unsettled me. A wave of anxiety crashed over me like a ton of bricks. I've dealt with anxiety before, but this was different. This was sudden, overwhelming, and almost uncontrollable. I even had the strange urge to call a flight attendant. Thank God I didn't. Before I could even process what was happening, the guy next to me suddenly blurted out loudly, "What the hell is going on? Where is this plane taking us right now?" And to be honest, I felt exactly the same way. He was clearly panicking, slapping his phone against his leg over and over while we both sat frozen. Two women across from us just stared, completely bewildered. I tried to start a random conversation just to break us both out of that spiral. Eventually, we ended up talking about fishing for the rest of the flight. Two grown men, total strangers, desperately trying to calm ourselves after nearly having a panic attack. We never mentioned the object again until we got off the plane. Walking down the jet bridge, I asked him if he had really seen that small white dot. He answered, "Man, what the hell was that thing?" I said, "Not sure, but it was weird as hell." He just walked away. Even back home, I couldn't shake the anxiety. I haven't felt that way since school, but I had some leftover anti-anxiety meds and finally managed to calm down. Still, that was hands down the strangest thing I've ever experienced sober. It wasn't just seeing an unidentified flying object. I don't even know what it was. It didn't move. It just stood still when I looked at it. Then, in the blink of an eye, it was gone. What makes this experience so extraordinary isn't whether there was really a UFO out there, but how it affected the people who witnessed it. Two strangers, with no reason to share feelings or fears, simultaneously experienced the same bizarre event, and both were hit by the same wave of dread. This suggests the phenomenon wasn't just a personal illusion, but something that seemed to directly influence the human mind. Maybe the object was a rare optical phenomenon, some kind of unknown aerial technology, or even just a trick of the light. But we also cannot rule out the possibility of a technology far beyond our understanding, one capable of influencing emotions, triggering anxiety, or forging a psychological link between witnesses. The key point is this: UFOs don't just challenge our perception of what can be seen, they force us to question what can be felt inside. Could it be that we're not only looking at something out there, but also being invisibly affected by it? Are these strange encounters reminders that the universe holds far more than current science can explain? And in the end, perhaps the real answer lies within the community itself, where people share, compare, and search for truth through countless similar stories. Because UFOs ultimately are not just about the question of what flies in the sky, but about the deeper question of who we are in this vast, mysterious universe.